It is absolutely nasty out there. It is absolutely nasty. We haven't even seen capitulation yet. We're going to see capitulation when we see a long and sharp bounce up. That has not happened yet. We are looking at blood in the water. And it's easy to say, listen, when there's blood in the water, that's when you should be buying and you should be attacking. But a lot of people got hurt right now. A lot of people are hurt right now. Look at Ethereum. Is this real? Ethereum is down 42% right now. You know, it's not a time for joking. It's not a time for trolling. That's for sure, right? But it is a time to gather together. It is a time to say good morning to each other. And you might say, well, it's not such a good morning today. You know, it's actually a very bad morning out there. Yeah, but guess what? You have the gift of life and you are alive. And you have to take a moment and to realize there are a lot of people out there who do not have 1/1000th of what you have. Right? Let's be grateful that we are here together. Let's stick it out. Let's talk it out. In a battle, there are certain moments that makes or breaks a man. Right? When I say man, I'm talking about everyone here because we got a fully supportive crew here of beautiful women. Beautiful women. How important are they to nurture? And how nurturing are they to all of us? Big shout out to Jan. Big shout out to Michelle and Gemma, each and every one of you. Gemma, I'm glad you're here with us live today. This is not normal. This is not normal. We're seeing Bitcoin right now over 50% drawdown in the bull market. This happened only once before. It's a 53% drawdown. It only happened once before. When did that happen? That was in the 2013 cycle when we had the double wave. No, this is not a double wave. It's different. Forget the pi cycle nonsense. When the creator of the indicator says it's erroneous, either you choose to believe him or not after he back tested an indicator, right? But going into the cross, he said this would be an erroneous cross. I said the same thing. Why? Because we were not seeing any type of blow off top leading into the cross, right? So listen, something is wrong. If people are questioning right now whether or not the model is broken or what's next, good. You very well should be. There's no question about it. But we're going to take a look at what's going on over here. We're still waiting for the dust to settle. Do you remember all week we've been talking about, listen, you got to wait for the repair. You have to wait for the repair. The repair never came. The repair never came. We're still waiting for the dust to settle. It has not settled, but it has gotten ugly. It has gotten ugly, and you have to acknowledge that. You have to sit back, and anyone who's telling you, oh, I knew that this was happening, and I'm calling, listen, if you got lucky call on the top, get on you, no question about that. But then why are you screaming and yelling at caps at everyone saying like that, whatever, for that nonsense over there. By the way, big shout out to Benjamin Crone. Spoke with him yesterday. Really good guy. We had a really good conversation. We'll be talking more in the future. Right now, we're looking at Bitcoin trading at $30,000, $30,110, down 30% on the session. It is absolutely ugly out there. It is absolutely ugly. We have not yet seen the capitulation. We will see it looked like it possibly was earlier this morning, right? Over here, you saw this big down bar, and then you saw price spiking up. It's that type of behavior you will see when the capitulation happens. If some of you are wondering right now whether or not the bull market is over or believe the bull market, and there are many people out there calling for, the bull market's over. Okay, listen, we'll talk about that later in the session. I was watching a macro video yesterday with Luke Roman, a master of macro, with Lynn Alden, a master of macro. And then, this was on Real Vision, I think with Travis King. They were all talking about what they foresee happening, whether or not we're going to see another blow off top to end the bull market over there. Both Luke and Lynn looking for that. And at the same time, all three of them were saying, look, the amount, and these people do work with institutions and advise institutions, and they're talking about the amount of money they see coming into the market. And they didn't believe, and they don't believe that we were going to see the type of volatility that we're seeing today to the downside. It's absolutely ugly out there. Okay. So anyway, let's take a look at it. What is going on over there? This was bought over here by Alp saying that we saw in 5 minutes, $1.7 billion in US dollars liquidated. We've seen a lot more since. This still continues to come down over here. I hear reports from all of you that Coinbase is down. I hear reports that other exchanges are down. It's absolutely atrocious out there. Absolutely atrocious out there. Everyone's been hurt. No question about that. You have some heroes out there being like, oh yeah, I was waiting for this to buy the dip over there. Anyway, it continues to bleed out over here. What I'm seeing is Ethereum capitulating right now. Maybe this is the first sign of capitulation over here on Ethereum. Let's back up the truck over here. Let's see what we're looking at over there. Right into the support. Is it finding support over there? I don't know. We're seeing a bloodbath occur. It's bloody out there. The sharks are in the water, right? BlockFi is logged out. It's a massacre. This is right here, Jay Greasy, and we got a lot to cover. We're gonna walk away, National Peter Schiff, with as much clarity as possible. And it's not clear, but listen, let's call it as it is. You know, number one, we're all here together showing up. Number two, we've been saying for, ever since Elon tweeted that something's off, the waters are not clear. We need to wait for the waters to clear, right? It never happened. A big hurtful lesson to a lot of people leaning in before the repair happened. Okay, you live and you learn. That's what happened. Look, in hindsight, are we going to be looking back and is this going to be one of the days, right? Is this going to be one of the days? Is it going to become Bitcoin lore? I remember back, picture what happens next cycle. Bitcoin is trading at $1 million, almost mid-cycle. And then everyone's like, I remember what happened on that date. I remember what happened when the massacre of the 2021 Bitcoin bull run. It humbled me, but I'm here. I survived. All right. Bitcoin trading now at 29,200. It's a massacre is the word of the day. I love it. We're looking at Bitcoin trading right now down 55%. There's only one other time we saw this type of drawdown occur in Bitcoin. It was in 2013. It was after the double top, the double wave, after the first wave, after what was a pi cycle cross, and you saw Bitcoin trade down about 70%. Is that going to happen right now? Listen, who knows anymore? I surely don't, right? I'm still waiting for these muddy waters to go ahead and settle. What we're seeing over here is massive liquidations occurring from massively over-leveraged traders, and it's having consequences. We talk about Bitcoin being the rising tide that lifts all boats. We talked about that when the tide goes out, it's going to sink all the ships. You could see that occurring today. We saw Bitcoin dominance trade down to 39 point something yesterday, right? Just touching or just about where it was in the 2017 bull market phase. If you remember, those that are here each and every day, big shout out to you. Those that are here each and every day, big shout out to you. I've been saying something's not right. We're not seeing Bitcoin break out mid-cycle dip, and we're continuing to see those altcoins run against Bitcoin. That is changing today. Is that good? Well, let's see. Let's get into some charts over here. Let's get into the presentation, and then we'll actually look at some charts over there. All right, let's take a look over here. By the way, let's start with this. It's a really good question. I'm not going to, Blue Magic, big shout out to you sending me this message yesterday. I'm not going to read the first part over there, except for the fact that, a big shout out to Heath and to Brandon for everything that they do over there, right? Talking about what we put together. I'm not talking about the accolades today. They're not deserved by any means. But what I want to talk about over here is the question. Why do we have so much trust in a past model that we can say we will be back to it in as little as 2 weeks? It's a really important question. Everyone needs to be asking it. If you're asking today whether or not the model is broken, good, you should be. There's no question about that. You should be asking whether, but we're going to take a look at it and we're going to go further, okay? Over here, we're looking at this chart. Most of you saw yesterday because I retweeted it. This is lining up the 2016 bull market cycle. I'm sorry, the 2016 4-year cycle, right? With the current 4-year cycle. You could see over here, right? Both that lined up from the capitulation. I'm not sure. It says that they're lined up from days from halving. I'm assuming that we're lining this up from we are lining this up from days from halving, and you could see the symmetry. If someone is saying to you, why would you be following a model I mean, this is the answer. Why would you not be following this model until it's broken? Jordan, it just broke right now today. Okay, we'll see. We'll see about that, right? If you're asking those questions, you're doing it right, right? So listen, by the way, just as we get going over here, Wayne, bye. No, we don't even need that. Don't feed the trolls today. I'm here with you to do what we do each and every day. Get together and make sure that we keep that focus we need to stay on top of the bull of all bulls. And that bull is bucking today. That bull is bucking massively, and that bull is spiking people, taking people. You know, there's blood everywhere. Our friends over here, and I root for all of the crypto space, right? I root for the success of all these they're getting destroyed over here, right? Litecoin down 40%. It's an absolute massacre. An absolute massacre. You know, there's no room for trolling today. You know, save your trolling for tomorrow, you know, and if you can't, otherwise, boom. Moderators, please keep it calm in here. We need to make sure that we keep everyone who deserves to be here, who invests their time to make sure that they're able to get the clarity they need to move forward, as well as I am. Jordan has lost control. So macro, bye. Anyway, there we go. I don't care about viewers, that's for sure. Moderators, you know, today is just a band day. If people are here to troll today, they do not fit the whole criteria of conquering the markets. They do not deserve to be here or be privy to what is shared here. Just boom. All right. If you're looking at this old model over here, this model that people are saying that, by the way, you know, people out there that are always calling market tops and always calling market bottoms, a couple of things happen, right? As soon as the markets start crashing, they get really loud, right? And then really quick, they get contrarian again, right? They're always on the other side. They're always looking for the difference over there. I'm looking at this 4-year cycle over here. I'm seeing us dip almost exactly to the day now where we dipped in the 2016 cycle, the 2017 bull run, and I'm continuing to see the model play out. My stop loss is 0. Everyone knows that. I'm in it. And by the way, yes, I positioned in much lower. Yes, I was highly aggressive over here throughout this bull market, and I got hurt a lot over here. I mean, you don't even, we're talking whatever, a lot more than, anyway, that doesn't even matter, right? And yes, I wish I would have sold at the top and bought back over here, but that's ridiculous. That's not how you make that, like, that's hindsight, and I wish and I could have. That's not how we do it over here, right? We're trying to actually foresee what is going to happen next and be ahead of it, right? Anyway, let's keep going over here. Is this capitulation we're looking for? What's Ethereum doing? I'm trying to track Ethereum, right? If we're sustaining that bounce or not. Possibly. A lot of people hurt over here. There's nothing to smile about. It's not funny at all. It's not funny at all. Let's keep going over there. We're looking at these models continuing to track each other. I spoke with Benjamin, good guy, last night. You know, we had about a 45-minute conversation. He was presenting to me of where he came from diminishing turns and lengthening cycles. And it was a good conversation. I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot more in the future. And, you know, a couple of things, you know, I pointed out to him, listen, you know, in October, November 2019, when I put out for the coming bull market my price target of 160,000, 140,000 mission accomplished, I told him I did that off of diminishing returns. I saw that this second cycle, 2016, had 1/3 the return of the 2012 cycle. So what I did for the 2020 cycle is do 1/3 of return, 160,000 mission accomplished. But then after the crisis, right, it was around November, you know, late 2020, after the Fed's and central banks' response, and I saw how Bitcoin and the market was reacting to all of this massive amount of liquidity, right? I had to reevaluate where I was, right? And that's when I started saying, no, well, this cycle looks like it's going to outperform the last cycle, right? And since then, we've seen that we've maintained an average of the two, right? If, by the way, come September, come October, it's approximately 150 days from today that we will see the peak of the Bitcoin bull market approximately, give a few days to the upside or downside. If at that point, we're trading under this cycle over here and or sideways, there's no question about it. We are looking at lengthening cycles, right? We are looking at diminishing returns, and I will be consulting Benjamin and all of his work as our way forward as the model that has been proven correct. At the same time, Benjamin is like, listen, if within, by June, we're trading back above $70,000, Jordan, there's no question. I want you, to lead, not, me and my viewers through what happens the rest of the bull market, because I want my community also on the right side of the trade. And then if we have a blow off top over here, then all of a sudden, listen, like it or not, I have to. The market is showing me something different, and I want to be there. Is this the point right here as we're seeing the dip for me to be like the model's broken? Well, let's take a look. Let's keep going over here today and make sure. Look, this is Alan Al pointing out over here around this time, right? This is when we bottomed out and we took off, right? Is that going to happen today or not? Are we getting close to that point? That's the question that everyone should be asking each other. We are seeing a massive shakeout occur. A massive shakeout occur over here. By the way, we've seen, as we look at that at this current cycle over here, we have not seen diminishing volatility. Okay? That's something that needs to be corrected. We have not seen we've seen increased volatility. The increased volatility to the upside throughout this current bull market phase, and now we're seeing increased volatility to the downside. In this run over here in the 2016 4-year cycle, in the 2017 bull market run, we did not see any type of drawdown. The highest drawdown we saw, I think, was 39%. It wasn't until the top of the bull market that we saw a 44% drawdown. Let me just go ahead and show you where that occurred. It was after the blow off top. We saw a 44% drawdown and 42%, 40, whatever, 43.4% drawdown. And already today, mid-cycle over here, we've just seen a 53% bull market. The bull market is over. A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people calling the top. Okay? I'm looking at, we're seeing increased volatility this cycle. That whole diminishing volatility, right? And that is part of the thesis for diminishing returns. We're seeing increased volatility to the upside, and now we're seeing increased volatility to the downside. And all of a sudden, we continue to see this resembles more of what happened in 2013, right? And it's still an average of the two. It's not as great as it was in 2013, the volatility to the upside, nor the volatility to the downside, but it's greater than the volatility we saw in 2016 to the upside and now to the downside. We continue to see an average of the two, right? The model broken? Well, not yet, not even close. The model looks like it's right on time, but it definitely the bull has definitely pierced a lot of people. A lot of people. It is absolutely ugly out there. It is a massacre. This is what we're looking at over here, the 3 phases of the bull market. I'm not going to get into it right now at all. When we were preparing yesterday for what happened today, this was unforeseen events. Unforeseen events by far. Okay? And what we're looking at over here, another place when the model would break, by the way, come over here, come August, we're not making new all-time highs. The model's broken. I told Benjamin, I don't need to wait until the end of September, October to say the model's broken. I'll know by August whether or not the model's broken, right? I'm not someone who's putting something out there like, oh, just wait, years and then we'll know. No, I'm telling you within a very short time frame whether or not we're right, we're wrong, the model's broken, no question about that. It's hard to imagine, right, if the model's broken. Anyway, that's why I would consult Benjamin and all his work if the model breaks, no question about it. And we'll be looking at that together, happily. What we are looking at over here, though, right? This is the current price action we've seen over here. I'm gonna get the name wrong over here, but I'm trying my best, my brother. Ani Kazman over here, right? I retweeted this yesterday. A lot of you saw this. He was pointing out the structure that we're currently looking at right now. A lot of people saying this is a Wyckoff distribution. A lot of people probably taking victory laps, rightfully so today because of that. No question about that. And I applaud it. And you're right. No question about that. You know, whether you're right technically from the technical definition or anything like that, the pattern itself is absolutely evident, right? And then we're looking at what happened last cycle with that. It's the exact same pattern at the exact same time. When I said this pattern right over here is in 2016, this is the one that you're looking at occurring in 2016, right here on almost the exact same day past the days of the halving, you know? And then what happened right after was boom. We all know the melt your face off move. Is that going to happen again? That's the question everyone should be asking right now, right? You know, is Bitcoin going down to 20,000? At this point, anything can happen. There's no question about that. It's real out there. It's really real out there. All right. But I'm in the camp that we're going to see this. And I'm going to say there's no way that I was prepared for or expected a 50% plus drawdown over here. I did it. There's no way. That's not what I saw at all. And this is not I'm right, because it's not like that at all. I'm totally not. All we said, something's not right. Remember I called the bottom of the V and I was like, this is the bottom of the V. This is the beginning of the parabolic move. And then right here, Elon tweets. And then I'm like, listen, someone just jumped in the water with a cannonball and muddied the waters. I am neutral. Not that I got out of my core position. I have not. Of course not. My stop loss is 0. I'm not selling my Bitcoin, right? But I said, listen, the waters are very muddy right now. You need to wait for the waters to clear. As soon as that anomaly happened, right? Triggered by Elon's tweet. We put in the line of repair and we said, you don't attack until we break above it, right? And boom, smashing down right now. All right, let's call it as it is. Let's keep it real and call it as it is over here. You could see clearly that was Wyckoff distribution happening over here. Very clearly, here's a beautiful chart of it, very well laid out. And if I press play now, you're going to see it jump all the way down because we just hit the target over there, you know? And you got to say, listen, you were right. I didn't expect that to happen at all. Neither did they, obviously. That was that was an anomaly. No question about it. All right. Where does that leave us and where does that bring us? We have a lot of people calling the top. You know, this is Peter Brandt, right? This guy's calling the top over here. He's saying this over here looks exactly like what occurred, at the top of the 2018 over here during the bear market. Looks like the top. Okay. I don't know. I don't see it a lot. What I see is this, obviously. Right? This, over here, this guy pointed out, well, actually, if you want to talk about analogs, what I see over here occurring during the dip is what's occurring over here. We're going to see who's right pretty soon over here. And by the way, if Peter's right, and this is the top of the bull market, props to Peter, right? We have other people pointing out, listen, some hopium. On a day like today, you might need some hopium. That's good. This is happening exactly like we saw in past cycles. Nothing is showing that we were towards the market top. Nothing was indicating it was time for a pi cycle cross to be valid, right? Listen, it's tough out there. I love this chart shared by VJ. He's saying yesterday, right before this massive crash that we had today, what we call the massacre of 2021, the Bitcoin massacre of 2021. VJ, right? The bullish case for Bitcoin VJ legend over here is talking about, look, this is brutal. Look at this chart. This is absolutely brutal. All of a sudden, everyone was so bullish over here and then smacked down. This looks absolutely horrific. He's like, look at, that's the same chart, by the way, right? You can see that is the same exact chart, except they're not. This is the current chart over here in 2021, and this is 2016. They're a mirror. The models. Why would you follow a model? Why would you follow an old, outdated model? I don't know. Could you see the difference? I can't. And VJ's pointing out, listen, this was horrific, right? Like we just saw on Ethereum. Ethereum going to $5,000 to $2,000 is absolutely horrific, right? But Ethereum is tracking the 2016 cycle of Bitcoin very closely. It's what happened at this particular time on Bitcoin at the exact same time. We saw Bitcoin drop, right? From $3,000 to $2,000, like boom, like that. And then look, he's just bringing the perspective that after bottoming out around $1,900, we went on to rocket higher to $20,000 over the next 5 months, right? Just bringing the perspective of what happened last time. The model's not broke until the model's not broke. Bitcoin over here, definitely bucking, but right on time, showing the symmetry of what happened last time. This was a beautiful chart. I retweeted this chart. This is by Maximilian, and he's pointing out, look, if you think what's happening right now is scary, remember the 2017 cliff dive. He's pointing out what happened that VJ is also just pointing out that we've been pointing out. I didn't expect it to unfold as it did. I did not expect, I expected what? I pointed out to you that possibly we could go from, from the high over there, 64,000, and we could come into 38,000. I thought that was max pain, a 42% drawdown, 41% drawdown. I thought that was max pain, and I was watching out for it. I think we bottomed out so far over here. So far, who knows if it's the bottom, at 28,000. Look at that drawdown over there. What is a 56% drawdown? I mean, the bull of all bulls is bucking, and a lot of people will get left behind. A lot of people who are losing faith right now in the model are going to get left behind over there, and they're not going to be there to enjoy Bitcoin, whatever, 300,000, Bitcoin, whatever, right? Right? We're not focused so much on price targets as we are on the price action, making sure that we get at the top. And if this continues to unfold as the previous cycles, there's no question we will be getting out as close to the top as possible, right? I know exactly, following the price action, what we're looking for over there. No question about what the price will be. I'm not going to exit if I see Bitcoin 160,000. I'm not going to exit if I see Bitcoin 250,000. I'm going to give as much as the market's going to give me, right? I have that type of confidence. There's no question about that. And listen, the same way we saw this volatility to the downside today, and nobody was expecting that. Nobody was expecting that, right? This is a casualty. The masker's a casualty of the amount of leverage that we've seen in the system. And it's just been wiped away. It's just been cleared out. Yeah, after we recover, we could be like, look, that was important. It needed to happen. Right now, it's tough out there. And you got to acknowledge how it is and what it is, right? So anyway, where we were, getting a little sidetracked. Oh, over here on this beautiful chart. A lot of you, so much respect for the calmness, so much respect for your situational awareness, so much respect for you hanging in there tough. A lot. I see it on the Discord, right? I'm so grateful. I see it, on Twitter, the messages that are being sent, to me and elsewhere. I haven't seen it in here because I'm not following the comments. I don't want to get distracted. I want to make sure that those that have the ears to hear are hearing what they need to hear to stay focused, make up their own minds, and you got to take responsibility. You got to take responsibility at the end of the day. I know I do. No question about it. Listen, this is exactly what I still expect to unfold, to occur. There's no question the model is right on time. We're seeing increased volatility to the upside. We're now seeing increased volatility to the downside. Is that going to snap back, and how soon will it be? I expect very, very, by June, that we're trading above $70,000. That's not a long time away. We're talking 6 weeks, right or wrong. We will soon find out. We are not taking the type of thesis that oh, well, we'll see by 2023 or 2020. No. We attack with precision. We're going to find out soon enough. It still remains very ugly out there. Bitcoin trading at $30,000. Whether or not we've capitulated, I have no idea. You could see Ethereum continuing to rebound nicely off of that possible low, and a good possible sign that we've seen capitulation in the market. It's too soon to see. It's too soon to tell. I want to pause for a second. I want to play with you and for you the video that I was watching with Luke Roman, legend, with Lynn Alden, You want to know why? Listen to what they say. You know, these are for sure macro experts. They're actually my two favorite macro analysts, right? Let's hear what they say when they're talking about what they foresee happening. And when they talk about the volatility to the downside, how they did not expect anything like this to occur. Let's pause for a second as I take a sip of water and keep going here with you.
Is it your base case that Bitcoin is going to do a cyclical blow off top as it has in previous cycles? Yes or no, is that your base case, and is it high confidence or low confidence?
Yes, it's my base case. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to be real quick. I was going to say yes. It's my base case, and pretty high confidence.
So my approach is, overall, a lot of the on-chain indicators still look healthy. The interesting thing is that we're still seeing coins leave exchanges, and so my overall view is that I do still think this cycle is going to have kind of a really bullish spike and then somewhat of a longer consolidation than we've seen, but it's somewhat muted by the fact that institutional investors are prone to rebalancing, are prone to different types of money management than some of the leveraged retail crowd. And so overall, my base case is to follow it kind of similar to how it's gone through previous cycles, but with a less volatile band. But for me, it's a somewhat low conviction because it is doing certain things that it hasn't done before, and so I think it's important to remain an open mind rather than assuming it has to kind of meet certain targets by certain months and then it's due for certain things after that. And I think we have to kind of keep looking at it, seeing what's happening with the space over time.
Yeah, it's difficult to imagine if central banks and governments globally are still going full gong show with monetary and fiscal policies, that this thing can really pull back all that much, because the institutional bid for Bitcoin is here essentially unanimously for the same reason, which is as a hedge against that. And if that train's still running down the tracks, I don't know how you scare off that institutional bid. So we're up against time, so we can leave it there for now.
And then you hear the question was, Jordan, is this going to scare off corporations? Right. By the way, corporations was not something that I or anyone expected to be part of this equation over here in this 2020 cycle. Of course, institutions, no question about that. But public companies putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets, that was a surprise, a welcome surprise. But that's not something that any Bitcoiner factored in. Or maybe, I'm sure there's an outlier out there. Maybe I never heard of someone who ahead of time was calling for that to happen. But that was a bit of an outlier. Nothing for sure about that. But over here, you could hear that, Travis is saying, listen, with the current central bank policies that we're seeing set forth, it's hard to imagine institutions not being able to do anything but lean in over there. That answers that question over there. I want to pause just for 1 second. I think Michael is the only one, right? I usually think of y'all as respectful and loving. I hope you guys can apologize if he's right about diminishing returns. And listen, Michael, yesterday Benjamin reached out to me and I was like, hey, listen, let's get on the phone or let's get on a Zoom call. And we spoke and we were, I don't know what you're talking about hate or disdain coming from the CTM community. It seems like to me that you're a bit toxic over here, my brother. What's going on? There was nothing but two men coming together, making sure that they see eye to eye, learning that they have so much in common and being like, you know what? Let's work together in the future to help each other. Right? So, Michael, you got to lay off the sauce, my brother. All right? Let's get back in over here. Let's figure out what's going on over there. I saw some people talking about, there we go. I guess Binance is down. Someone was like, why does Jordan keep saying we're looking at $30,000 Bitcoin? I guess Binance is down, right? If I come over back to Bitstamp, we could see that clearly looks like we're seeing some capitulation taking place right now, right? And you can see it's a massive, massive bounce so far. Listen, 20% bounce so far. That type of volatility is why, yes, we could see, in a relatively short amount of time, Bitcoin trading back above $70,000 again. And yes, that's the time frame that makes or breaks this model. We're talking about putting it on the line over here. Not someone who's unsure about my model, preparing my community if I could be wrong, but saying, listen, we know and we attack with precision. You know, if the model's broken and wrong, we're going to find out really soon. But even though for sure I did not expect the volatility that we saw to the downside, which did occur, we're still looking at that mid-cycle dip almost to the day that it happened from the halving lined up to the last cycle, almost to the day, right? And what we are seeing for sure, as we saw, you know, the first dip in the 2013 cycle, massive dip to the downside, massive volatility to the upside. We're seeing increased volatility to the upside, increased volatility to the downside, and we're still seeing the current 2020 4-year cycle play out as an average between the two. And now it's even giving more credence to it's an average of the two as you see that further volatility to the downside. I hope this helps a lot of people realize, you know, if everything continues to play out as it is, right? That, and we see the blow off top occur as we're looking approximately 150 days from today, approximately, right? I hope people no longer are like, the institutions are here. There's no way we're going to see a 60% drawdown during the bear market. You know? Thank you, Alex. Thanks for making me smile. Thanks for making me laugh today. Could you imagine this community for some nice taco sauce? That's beautiful. You know, I love you all. 47 people in here, shook by the free world. That's okay. God love you. You know I do. That's for sure. Anyway, so listen, over here also, I'm sorry, I want to keep going, but you know, listen, Ziploc Homes. Jordan, we're here for you and we're certainly for each other. This community is absolutely astonishing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yes, it's not a good morning. It's a bad morning. But at the same time, I'm going to look at each and every one of you and say, I'm glad that you are here. It is good that you are here. Good morning. What a gift that we are alive. What a gift of God that we are alive and that we are here together and that we have each other for help and support, right? Did you see yesterday in the Discord how everyone was there for each other? If someone put out even an emoji that looked like maybe this guy's going through some pain, Walter stepping in, being like, hey, brother, are you okay? That's what I'm talking about right there. That's love for your brother and sister. That's what's important right there. So what I'm talking, so as we come into as we continue here, as this continues to play out, as everything continues to unfold, and we make sure we try our hardest to stay on top of the bull of all bulls. It bucked a lot of people off today. There's no question about that. It was an absolute massacre. There is blood in the streets. But we will look back on this day, the massacre of 2021, and we will say, listen, when everyone looks at you and thinks you got lucky, you know the truth. You know the truth. You know the truth. Lucky 7, God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So what else? Listen, I just want to ingrain this. Take this opportunity. Lucky 7. Thank you. I'm glad that you're here. Even if you don't post. By the way, when we talk about everyone who makes up this community, there are a lot of people, who are silent witnesses all the time. Thank you for being a part of this community. Those watching on the replay right now, each and every day, thank you for being here. Each and every day. Thank you for the comments that you share. They mean so much to me. Anyway, listen, I think this is a reality check over there, dispelling what we just tried to dispel a long time ago. When people said this is a super cycle as far as to the downside. We're not going to see a 60% drawdown to the downside. Listen, the volatility is not just to the upside, it is to the downside. I think that's clear. Now, this could still be a super cycle one of two ways, right? We could still be a super cycle if all of a sudden we wound up outperforming the capacity of the 2012 cycle. If we see Bitcoin trading above $800,000, Raul has prepared everyone for it, right? By the way, people ask, where is all the money coming from? I mean, when you're talking about Luke Groman, when you're talking about Lynn Alden, when you're talking about Raul Powell, these people do have a very clear understanding of institutionals, how they work, the money, the amount of money. They call it the massive wall of money, right? Before you even talk about pensions getting in or anything like that, Jordan, why with this type of volatility would they get in? Listen, the volatility, you don't get the type of returns to the upside without being able to participate in the volatility. It's a new asset, it's a baby asset. It was this cycle a $1 trillion asset. Probably right now, I imagine it's closer to an $850 billion asset. It's small, it's tiny. You don't become a $10 trillion asset. You don't become fighting for that $100 trillion M1 without massive volatility. And there will come a day when we see massively diminishing returns, right? As Bitcoin takes a bigger and bigger place on that world stage, right? We could see a super cycle if we outperform to the upside. It's still a possibility. Obviously, that's not our base case. Our base case continues that we have an average of the previous two cycles over here. And we could also have a super cycle. This is what Benjamin's talking about. If price flattens out over here, right? If we see Bitcoin go sideways and instead of going into a bear market, come October, come late September, October, and price continues to go, that's a super cycle. That would not only be a lengthening cycle, it would also fit the definition of Dan Held's super cycle. So there are three ways you could have a super cycle. I'm not looking until the model breaks for either one of those to happen, but we will see. We'll continue to monitor it, and we'll do our best to stay on the right side of the trade. And it's not easy, and there's nothing easy about it. And when people tell you that you got lucky, you know better. You know better. You know how much work, you know how much dedication it took. There's nothing easy about it. Anyway, let me play some honeymoon over here. Let me take a look at what's going on with you guys, and then we'll come back for some more. I almost went off on a rant without the mic. Wow. What a pleasure to be able to read the comments that you are all sharing, to touch base with you all like that and see where you're all at. You guys are extraordinarily supportive. I'm really, really grateful for that. I wish some outliers, I wish they would get in step being two, but that's okay. You know, that's okay. There was a question over there that I saw, you know, and it was boom, boom, boom. So over here about the Wyclef saying that, you know, if price recovers above 37, then at that point, you know, it wasn't really a Wyckoff distribution, right? You don't see a quick recovery from it. It's a, you know, it's a top or anything like that. Look, there's no question. I could say that anyone could take a victory lap that was calling out, you know, this pattern over here. By all means, you could take a victory lap 100%. And or if you saw a head and shoulders here, which does not have 4 peaks, but you took the neckline break, you know, you could. There's no way I would have conceived the price coming down to $28,000, which was the target of what would have been a head and shoulders. And you could take a strong victory lap, no question about it. You know, what I see, right, and continue to see is what's going to unfold is this, right? And at that point, you know, why you could be like, see, I told you that was not a Wyckoff distribution, because otherwise we would not be back up here. I'm not going to take a victory lap when it happens, right? I'm just going to continue to be calm and make sure that I stay on the right side of the trade. That's all. You know, I don't need to take a victory lap. My victory lap is, you know, anyway, that's not for me or anything like that. All right, Bitcoin now trading at $36,000. Let's check in on Ethereum. I mean, it was I couldn't believe I saw Ethereum down 50%. It's absolutely horrific, atrocious. There's no question about that. People are saying, what massacre? Yeah, look, my stop loss on Bitcoin 0. I'm positioned in on my core position significantly lower. That part's all good and fine, you know. But, you know, and listen, I don't even need to go there or go anything like that. But if this, if this didn't all unfold as it unfolded, we would be looking at something entirely. Anyway, it is a massacre. And whether or not, you know, you played it smart, as I hope most of you did over there, when the waters got mucky and cloudy, I hope that you stayed on the side, right, until it was time to get back in on the repair, right? When I say I'm going neutral, when I say that I don't know what's happening, right? What was it? It was just it was last Friday when I'm like, I don't know what's happening, right? When my wife's like, what do you mean you don't know what's happening? Well, I just spent an hour explaining. If you want to know, invest your time and try to understand, right? But when you hear me saying, look, something is not right here, there's an anomaly taking place, you know, it's up to you whether or not you choose to pay attention to that or not, you know? But again, that's what was happening over there. We put in our situational awareness. We know, and no one does it better, looking for those repairs out of the correction, right? If you're like, oh, I'm just gonna jump in even though I know price is gonna, no, you're doing it wrong. You learned a hard lesson. That's okay. You learned an important lesson. You got to learn lessons in order to be able to learn how to thrive. You have to be open to what the market is showing you. You have to absorb those lessons. You have to take them, and then you have to sit down. You have to rewire your brain and make sure that you not continue to express those behaviors again at any point in time. That includes picking tops and bottoms. That includes looking for a model to break before it's broken, right? That includes, there's nothing different about picking a top or picking a bottom than there is looking for a model to break before it's broken, right? And I'll remind that from you, you know, relatively soon when we're trading back above $70,000. And I'll remind that here at the top over here to you. And we'll continue doing what we need to do. Listen, yeah, Kenny, you know, my brother, big shout out to Kenny over here, you know, making fun of my learning disability, not able to sound out words, having to learn to read through, having to learn English through memorization. My big shout out, my man, bringing so much value to us all. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're here, Kenny. You add so much. Thank you, my brother. Right? Anyway, here we go. So, listen, it was a tough day out there. There's no question it's tough. We're seeing Bitcoin here looking like it capitulated. A lot. I would love to see if anyone is able to find out, maybe William will be sharing the information with us. If anyone is looking for the amount of liquidation that took place and how much money right now is currently long with leverage the market, that would be very interesting to see how much the market has reset. You still have to be careful. Why it looks clear to me or clear to all of you that what we saw is finally the capitulation, right? We will see whether or not we have a V up from here, how sharp it will be. Is it still the break of that trend line over there, right? Is that the question we're looking to ask? Could you are you buying the dip? And listen, you should not be asking questions like that. Honestly, you should know whether or not you're ready to buy the dip. What I'm looking at over here is the line of the repair. A lot of people deploying a lot of different strategies. People leaning in at 30% for sure. People leaning in at 20%. People leaning in at 10% dips. We just saw a massive, massive, massive 52, 53% drawdown on Bitcoin during the bull market phase. Only the second time that's ever happened. A lot of people hurt. When is the next line of repair, right? Are you looking for something super aggressive like that? Do you need to be aggressive, right? Are you still looking for, a higher high in the daily, buying up all the way here at $44,000? By the way, could you imagine? There's no way Bitcoin $55,000 cheap. Jordan, what are you talking about? Bitcoin just trading down right over to $28,000. Bitcoin trading, it depends on your time preference. It depends on your time preference, right? When I say Bitcoin is cheap at 55,000, when Bitcoin is trading, cycle peak, that $55,000 Bitcoin mid-cycle is going to look really cheap. Now, of course, I did not expect Bitcoin to trade to 28,000. I did not expect Bitcoin to trade to 35,000. 38,000 was where I said, listen, 41, 42% drawdown. I believe because of the support over there, that would be max pain. Watch out for it. I got definitely caught out there, caught off guard. No question about that. So what else? Three little birds, right? Throw it up. That's right. All right. I gotta, thank you. Thank you. This message over here, right before I went on, could you imagine this community? By the way, let me share with you. A minute before going live, Jay Carey's like, be encouraged, brother. It reminds me of John Paul II, be not afraid. Thank you, my brother, for sharing the love. Thank you so much, Mario, each and every one of you. Kips is imparting something over here I didn't have the chance to read yet. And by the way, I do go back after the stream and I go through the comments to see what you all are talking about and share, to see what I could learn from you. If you're taking issues today, remember that this happens and you will never get a more valuable lesson to improve. See, that's growth mindset. That's the growth mindset right over there. Always looking to improve, always looking to take whatever's thrown out at you, right? It was in one of the Rocky movies where Sylvester Stallone, he's like, listen, there's nothing harder than life, and life's going to come at you, and life's going to be punching at you, and it's not a question, it's a question if you keep moving forward. It's a question if you get back up and you keep moving forward. If you don't take this learning experience as a learning experience, you are not going to be there to thrive. There's no question about that. You don't survive 20 years in the markets without learning from your mistakes and always be looking to improve. I am really, really lucky to be surrounded by all of you. Thank you so much. No. So people, let's take a look at this. Let's really take a look at this for 1 second. All right. So hold on 1 second. People might be wondering, when's a safe time to get back in the market? When's a line of repair, right? I'm obviously, everyone knows from this session that I'm expecting that rebound to occur. I am expecting that right over here, almost to the day, we are seeing that shakeout. I thought this was the shakeout. I thought the bottom of this V, and by the way, I called it before we came up. I said, we're going to see a V. It's going to be quick. It's going to be sharp. And this is the beginning of the parabolic move, right? That was at Bitcoin $48,000 that I said that, right? And now and then all of a sudden we started coming up. Elon tweeted over here. I'm like, something's wrong. Something's not right. The waters have been muddied. We have to wait for everything to settle. And now we're seeing a massive shakeout occur. Okay. My timing was off. I don't know if my timing was off or if Elon never tweeted whether or not we would have gone up from here and this was an anomaly or this was actually right on time and correct. I sincerely don't know. Yes, if 2 weeks from now we're trading up in a sharp V, we could be like, well, that was good. That was really healthy. We should have seen it coming. I didn't see it coming. How it played out. I was wrong. And when I say that I'm wrong, I'm not like, there are many people out there who are like, listen, Jordan, you're timing the cycle. You're timing it in its 3 phases, the bull market, the bear market, and the accumulation. And within those phases, you're timing the waves. You're looking for that precision. And I'm just saying, like, look, by 2023, we'll be at a million, we'll be at whatever. And then we could be like, we're both right. Well, okay. But listen, that's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm trying to achieve. I'm looking to ride this bull with the utmost precision. And the first mistake that I have made, and it's a big one, occurred over here. When I say since we've been together, since we've been looking at what we expect Bitcoin to do and how we expect it to play out. And the reason I'm taking the extra time right now with myself reviewing what happened, as you all know who have been here every day for a year, for 7 months, I think that you get the most value at learning from your mistakes. And whenever I make a mistake, I spend the required time to really absorb it, to learn the lesson, making sure that in the future I don't make it again. I don't brush off my mistakes, as far as not learning the value from them. I take the extra time to learn from them so that I could continue improving and making sure the next time the similar situation comes up, because the markets are just endless fractals repeating themselves, right? I'm going to be there and I'm going to make sure that I have the awareness I need to make sure that I thrive even better in the future. That's who I am and that's what I do. Listen, brother, why don't you, Matt's asking why do we stop referencing a chart that happened 4 years ago? Matt, I'm looking at this chart that happened today. Matt, maybe you're looking at something else, Matt. We're looking at this blue line over here. This is price today. We're not only looking at price happening. Matt, it's the same way coming into the halving event. I got a lot of people here with the awareness of what the 4-year cycle was, how it plays out. So they were well positioned, right? Starting at $7,000, $8,000, we were positioning ourselves in here on this channel. By 9,000, 9,500, fully positioned in. For me, that was half my net worth, right? And then we were talking about what we foresaw happened. Matt, without looking at what happened in the past, without looking what happened 8 years ago and then 4 years ago, there's no way that I would have been able to get here today. So when Matt, just to help you out, since you're confused, right? We're looking at what's happening today, Matt. We're not looking at what happened in the past, right? So listen, it's okay, Matt. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be so far out of the game that you don't even know what you're looking at, but you got to get in the game, Matt. For whatever reason, you're here with us. For whatever reason, the Google algorithm has brought you here. We want to get you on the right side of the trade, right? There you go. So what else? I'm not ready to say goodbye just yet. I hope we accomplished what needed to be accomplished today. Tough day out there. Let's go ahead and let's play one more time. Some vocals over here leading out on a good note, on a positive note, right? No matter what's happening in life, you have to hold on. You have to dig deep and you have to say, I'm going to push through. And by the way, because there are people out here that are suffering. Not everyone was positioned in as low as myself or other people, right? Not everyone. There are people who bought in for the first time, maybe their first fraction of a Bitcoin at $60,000. There are a lot of people out there who are really, really hurting, you know? And it's important. It's important to remember, usually in life, when you're going through what seems to be the valley, that's usually, it's really important to have that mindset. You know what? Soon things are going to be looking and feeling a lot better. And the same thing when you're riding a peak, when you're riding a high, to have that awareness to say to yourself, listen, it's not always going to be this way, and the same thing in the spiritual life. The same thing in the spirit. Sometimes you feel that intimacy with God. Prayer is like breathing, and it's so easy. At those times, it's important to remember, listen, it's not always going to come so easy, and you have to be prepared for that. So during those times, you put in the effort, you put in the time to get through it. And when you're feeling really dry and you're not feeling that connection, it's really important to remember to hold on. It's not always going to be like that. It's important to have that type of awareness. Let's take a look. Let's go out on a good mood though today. Let's go out with some honeymoon vocals over here to lift everyone up just a little bit. Always, and thank you all. I see the community is so special. Thank you all who go out of your way to help lift each other up. There's a lot of saltiness. There's a lot of emotions out there. It's the markets. Those that are able to keep level are the ones that are going to thrive and survive. Some people want to take a look at other markets over here as they're seeing equity markets coming off quite painfully, quite hard as well. What the cause or correlation with Bitcoin is to that? Not sure. S&P coming in to this important area of support right now. Watch what happens off of it. If we said yesterday, if we lose that support at that point, we would be in for what I think will be a deeper correction. I saw an important article yesterday on Zero Hedge. It was regarding anyway. I pausing right there. You know, listen, you know, I literally came from nothing. I literally taught myself everything. Started with nothing, right? By the way, you know, just so you have some context over here, you know, for every I don't know, you know, what type of positions y'all are trading, and it doesn't matter, you know, for someone who's just trading a fraction of a Bitcoin, and the utmost respect to the person actually, dollar cost averaging in, you know, even if it's $25 a month for real. And there are many people out there who do things like that. $25 a month, right? Maybe someone else could afford $200 a month, right? Fractions of a Bitcoin whenever they can, dollar cost averaging, spending their time learning about the Fourier cycle, spending their time understanding Bitcoin. You can't hold, you know, you can't say my stop loss on is 0 on Bitcoin without understanding Bitcoin and the financial markets, right? And although, yes, I understand psychology and price action probably better than almost anyone out there, these people over here, whether it's Lynn or Luke, these people understand the workings of the financial system, are able to understand and articulate the why, how they work across all assets and together in that giant symphony that is the financial markets, right? Where we're going with that or where we don't, I don't know. But either which way, right? So you have to understand not only Bitcoin, you have to understand the markets. You have to understand right now what the central banks are doing on their calculated devaluation of not only the dollar but all of fiat, and the only way to protect. Otherwise, there's no way you're holding, right? Other way, there's no way you're going to continue to position yourself for the future. There's no way. If you don't take the time, if you're asking, is now a good time to buy? You are so far out of the game that you're not in the game yet, but that's good. It's good to understand where you are and who you are so you could spend the required time to get into that game. There is so much information out there today presented by so many people that you could catch up really quickly. But you have to take the time to invest your time, you know, to gain that knowledge necessary. You know, I was going to talk anyway. We're talking. I don't even want to talk about it. How about that? S&P 500. Let's look at those markets over there. We're at a pretty critical point over here. And yes, losing this point from a TA perspective alone, that would say that at that point, we're in for further pain over here. And then we could see a further correction. Now, there are some, let's say, alarming signs of possibly the Fed is going to be forced into tapering sooner than they would like. You know, that's a tough call. That's a difficult argument. There are a lot of people out there who think that's not possible, that the Fed's only choice from here is going to actually be able to increase their overall, their overall, you know, the words can't even come. How far have we been online? How long have we been online this morning together? Only an hour. That's okay. The Fed is going to be forced to increase their balance sheet. There's no other way around it. And then you have the opposing opinion saying the Fed is actually from here soon going to be forced to have to taper, right? It's not the day for consulting that or those opinions. When it's time to present it to you, as I always have, you know I will, right? Over here from a TA perspective, though, you could see this is an important line to hold. Be watching, right? If we lose and close below this trend line, we're in for a further correction. What about on the Nasdaq, right? The Nasdaq, come on, pull up the Nasdaq. Come on, there we go, right? Do you remember? We called that a couple of things. Aggressive first line of repair. As we came into the resistance, we said yesterday, we need to get above this confluence of horizontal resistance and this trend line over here for the repair and the green light. Rejected by it hard. Now towards, you know, listen, you're still neutral. And when I say you're still neutral, what do I mean? I mean, well, you know, the Nasdaq, like the S&P is on a point where it could still hold here. We could still resume off there. Everything's okay. The Nasdaq over here is in kind of no man's land between the first repair, right? And between the line that we needed for the green light. right? You can see it over here in that area over there. The Nasdaq, how's this support over here? When does the Nasdaq really break down? Let's take a look and let's try to tighten that up as best that I can. I'm following my mouse over here, starting with this resistance. I see the support over there. The reason I focused it on over here is because that's where we wicked down to last time. Where now I'm consulting the line I had over here. It's a more important support level at 12,747. The reason I say that is because we had this after the resistance, the breakout, right? Retest, 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 broke down. This time it held as resistance, got back above it, and it was tested again. It's an important level. That's right there is the line that as long as the Nasdaq stays above right now until it breaks out this trend line to the upside, it's neutral, right? First line of repair was over there. If you took that trade, you're underwater, unless, and I don't know because this is not my thing here, unless as you came into that first resistance, right? This is conquering the market strategy and principles all day long. You moved your stop loss to break even. But I don't know who took this trade. I don't know if anyone took this trade. We're not focused over here, but conquering the market's principles, right? First line of resistance or support, you move your stop loss to break even, right? So, either someone is back neutral, not in the trade, or they're underwater over here. This is the line of support. As long as the Nasdaq's trading above, break below it, and it could get ugly. So it's too soon to be trying to call a top over here. Where this pressure is coming from, I don't know. I don't know why the market's down over 1% today. The dollar is basically unchanged on the day, slightly up. You can see that it actually came back after the breakdown of the resumption. This is breakdown, retest, resumption, right? It came in and has so far retested it, so we'll see what happens. You should all have that perfect awareness. Looking at gold is slightly up on the day, right? Very volatile for gold so far this morning, right? What about silver? A lot of volatility as well. I don't know yet where all that's coming from at all. I do know that nothing's lost any critical level, whether you're looking at the S&P 500, NASDAQ, or gold or silver. Gold and silver continue to look relatively healthy out there. Safe haven bids, no question about that. Blood in the streets here on gold and Bitcoin, right? I would not take the gold trade over here. If I was looking, obviously, to trade against Bitcoin, it's versus the dollar, not versus gold. In the bear market, that's different for sure. That could be gold versus Bitcoin all day long. You could see over here from where we initiated this was the strong place to begin the position. We've come back all the way into it. That's massive. That's giving up a 55% gain over there, and back into that area. Is that the place, where it's safe again to take the position? I just don't think anyone should be. Why in the bear market trading the gold versus Bitcoin pair to the upside makes a lot of sense. In the bull market of Bitcoin, it doesn't make sense to trade it versus gold. You want to be trading versus weakness, strength versus weakness. Gold, that not weak. The dollar, obviously weak. Nevertheless, look, this is just a good lesson. Be ready for anything. And I was not ready for the type of price action that we witnessed today on Bitcoin. I didn't think that we would trade below $38,000. I didn't believe that we would see below a 42% drawdown. Now seeing, I think it's a 53% drawdown. Well, just so we know, just so I know or have an idea, a 54% drawdown in the bull market. It does solidify the case that we are seeing increased volatility. When you hear people talking about diminishing volatility, right? And lots of, that's what Benjamin told me yesterday. That's not the case. We're seeing increased volatility. We're seeing increased volatility to the upside, and now we're seeing increased volatility to the downside. This cycle currently still an average of the two. We'll see how it plays out. We're not talking about we're talking about in a relatively soon amount of time, we should now see a sharp V-shaped recovery. Otherwise, those that are leaning towards, listen, this time is different. Price from here is going sideways for a prolonged time. At that point, lengthening cycle, diminishing returns. I'm looking for a sharp V-shaped recovery. I'm looking for everything that has played out in the first cycle, in the second cycle, to play out here on the third cycle. We said it from the beginning, we're looking for things to rhyme. It's not going to play out exactly the same, Hindsight's always easier. It's hard to get it right with that type of position all the time. definitely. Anyway, that's where we are. That's where we are today. True trend. Wait, hold on a second. Oh, we want to talk about, the line of repair. We're going to talk about that in 1 second, and then the true trend, right? Let me move up first the true trend over here, just because I want to take a look, right? And pull up the true trend myself. All right, boom, boom. This is the true trend BTC. I want to see where the signal went negative. I want to see where the signal went negative. Bitcoin 42,900. You would have been out over here, right? You first would have exited over here. So by the way, as I'm talking about this, just so everyone knows, right? There's a video on the Bitcoin playlist on this channel, and it talks about a beginner strategy for Bitcoin, simple and effective, which I've always said is probably the most advanced and most effective strategy for most, not for everyone. There are people that are definitely intermediate and advanced traders, but the one that your mom could follow and outperform anyone, right? So if you want to find out what I'm talking about right now, you have to watch that video over there. This is done on the 12-hour. You could see that you would have had an exit over here at 43,600 Bitcoin, but the next day you would have, or 12 hours later, positioning back in, right? Positioning back in at 45,363 Bitcoin. By the way, in the last Bitcoin bull run, you did not see a cross during the bull market phase. You did not see. This kept you out of the whole crisis back in March very cleanly, very nicely, keeping you out through all of that pain that people went into. Obviously, it's all in the videos of what we did down over here, positioning ourselves in, looking where we were at the anomaly occurring. Positioning for the bull market somewhere around $8,000, right? Your first exit would have occurred at $43,500. And then over here the next day, or 12 hours later again, you would have exited at $42,780. Been on the sidelines for this big dip. So that was Dave asking about the true trend, how that works out on that blip history. And there it is. That's a good video to watch. And again, if you do have that low time preference, if you are interested in not what is happening today, but positioning yourself throughout the rest of this bull market, positioning yourself for the next 4-year cycle, positioning yourself for the next 10 years, this is a model to consult and to use and to thrive with. The other thing that we wanted to look at together is what is going on as far as repairs and things like that. I mean, listen, it looks pretty clear that what we're seeing at this point, right, is capitulation, right? I mean, look, I say that with like, are the waters still muddied? Right? Is it safe to go back in the water after the shark just kind of like drew blood? That's up to you. It's still sketchy out there. Those that have that really low tide preference, of course, they're buying the dip. Right? Of course, people were buying the dip, back at 55,000, people adding at 45,000, whatever. That's all good. If you're looking for that precision entry right now, and we're looking and wondering where that is, well, you can tell by my voice, I'm kind of still a little like, I don't know. Let's wait and see. That's the easy one. The same one we've been watching, by the way, waiting for that first line of repair. I mean, look, that's still the safest line. Right now, if someone was like, well, we could see this is also occurring right now. I can't see that, see, no, when you hear the hesitancy in my voice, this is not worth it. Right. And what about someone looking at like this? I mean, man, do you need to be that aggressive? Instead of doing that, I mean, you just might as well like be accumulating down here, positioning yourself in at market. If you're not, if you want to wait for the safe line, it's still this line over here. That looks like that if we break this line, right, maybe that's when we see a sharp V move out of here. Whether or not we're going to see a sharp V or not, listen, you know that myself, that Alan Al, that Heath, that Brandon, that Alan P, and that every single Bitcoiner out there is going to be walking us through it. Walking you and walking us through it together is that hive mind over there, right? So we're going to figure it out. I'm still have that posture, something's not right. I'm continuing, waiting for that dust to settle for that place to attack. Do I think that it means to attack, anyone has the money right now and is buying Bitcoin at $35,900? Of course, conquering the markets all day long. If you're looking for that precision entry, you're still looking for the break of this trend line. You got to still continue to have that patience. If you didn't see, right, over here, a lot of people were entering before the break. They're like, well, I just don't care. I'm going to enter. Listen, you got to wait for the break. Is it clear that we're seeing perhaps something else play out? I mean, no, it's not clear for me. It's not clear. So I hope that's helpful for you. It's a lot of help for me when I see that something's not clear for me. Thoughts on what caused the breakdown? Well, Lufu, you saw yesterday, William pointed out a massive amount of money, the most inflows into Binance that we've seen ever. Hindsight, well, look what happened, right? Hindsight, look what happened. Largest inflows ever into Binance yesterday, right? Now, I looked back and I saw it during this bull market phase. Every other time there were large inflows. This one, by the way, yesterday's inflows more than double the previous record. Every other time there was large inflows during this bull market, prices actually appreciated soon thereafter. I attributed that to being the amount of leverage offer there, people putting on. You saw throughout this bull market why Coinbase is losing coin. Binance has been increasing coin. It looked to me that people were looking to lever up on positions. That's not what happened, right? Thoughts on what caused this? Massive volatility. Look, if we have a sharp V, we're going to be like, oh, that was clear. Nothing's clear right now. Nothing's clear right now. There you go. Buy fear. So listen, I hope it was a good session. I hope it was a good session for you. And I hope that a lot of people are able to walk away with this with a little bit more clarity. At the end of the day, that's what we're here for. Yeah, right? Admit when I'm wrong. Of course. Otherwise you're not going to survive. And, when it's not clear to him, he's transparent about it. Of course. If it's not clear to me, I'll be the first to say it. And when things are clear for me, I'll let you know for sure. Anyway, everyone, Mike Novakratz said he expects to consolidate near the bottom. He doesn't expect a strong V bottom. All right. We'll see who's right. We'll see who's wrong. And just so we're clear, Andrew, I continue to say I have no idea. I am unclear. I continue to wait for the waters to settle, right? And that's the posture that I've taken ever since Elon's tweet sent this down, right? This was what I was looking for, that V. I was wrong. Elon tweeted, and I've been like, wait, the waters are muddied. I lost my bearings. For the first time that we've been navigating this market together, I said, wait a second. I am not clear. It's unclear to me. And here we are today. I'm waiting for that clarity. I'm in no rush. I want to get it right. All right, everyone. Listen, I'll see you all in a little bit inside the Discord. Thanks for sharing this time together. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for all that you offer. Thank you for all that you give, right? If you want to draw out love, pour out love. Have a beautiful day, everyone. And I'll talk to you soon. Elias. I'm sitting here listening to Honeymoon Instrumental, jamming out over here, reading your comments. And listen, thank God. First of all, classic Jordan. Thank God, because I have no idea what it was like today for the moderators. I could imagine the trolls out there. I really can. People like that, like this is their moment to come out and thrive and attack. That's what they live off of, right? So I don't know what it was like for all of you today, but thank you. I knew that. Thank you, really. And not only when I thank you, the whole community is thank you. Thank you for helping all of us. Thank you for everything that you give to make this community shine. Thank you so much. Grateful for that. Grateful for it very much. And you too, Jan. I talked about over here. The nurturing we have over here of the amazing, beautiful presence of the women of this community. Thank you, Jan, so much for that. It was really beautiful. Thank you for being here for us. Robert, you got it. Listen, CTM is here to help you see things a little bit clearer for you to learn what it takes for you to make those own decisions. If you feel like, this is the time you want to buy, Bitcoin's trading at $35,000, if it depends on what strategy you're deploying here, if my mom called me up right now and was like, should I buy Bitcoin? Or my family who missed, their entry, I'd be like, all day long. They're absolutely all day long. Either which way. All right, everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon.